A seed starting setup is something that you can make as expensive or as cheap as you'd like. In today's video, I want to talk through my exact setup using a shelving unit, some grow lights, a programmable timer, and some seed starting cells and trays. I will also provide some budget and size alternatives at the end of the video to help you figure out something that might work for you. Let's get into it. I'll walk you through everything, why I chose this heavy-duty shelving, the best grow lights for strong seedlings, and the key accessories that make this system work smoothly. Let's get started. The foundation of this whole setup is the shelving unit. Let me share a couple of the features that I was looking for when I was choosing a rack setup. The first one is I wanted heavy duty. Now I was shopping online for a rack, and I just know myself from past experience that I really hate it when I buy something and it feels cheap. And one of the best ways that I can initially tell something feels cheap is if it's too lightweight and too flexible. So I wanted to make sure that it had a pretty good weight rating and something that was heavy duty compared to the other ones that I saw on Amazon. So this one right here actually claims it has a 5,000 pound weight capacity, so 1,000 pounds on each shelf, which is clearly way more than I should need for seedlings, but I just wanted to make sure I was getting something that didn't feel cheap. The next thing I was looking for was adjustable shelving. I wasn't totally sure what kind of height I would want the shelves to be, so I didn't want something that I couldn't change, especially when you consider how tall something like a tomato seedling might get. I wanted to be able to maybe have a shorter shelf if I had some shorter seedlings like lettuces, and I wanted to be able to increase the distance between a shelf if I needed some more height for some certain plants. So this one is adjustable, but let me show you how it's adjustable because it's not all that easy to do. It's not something I would do very often. If you take a look right here, you can see how it is adjusted. It's best to do this like during setup, but you would have to push these up both at the same time and move these clips. You would have to like disconnect it, move the clips, something like that, and then put it back on. I was okay with this type of adjustment because I didn't see myself doing this very often. I also wanted to make sure that I had 5 shelves. The reason I chose 5 is because I had the seed starting cells and trays to fit on 4 rows. And I thought the 5th one, I could use the very top shelf for storage, and I could use the bottom part of that top shelf to hang the last light. I wanted to make sure that it was pretty much as wide as possible for my space. Now I have 38 inches of space. This is a 36-inch wide rack, which is perfect because I have a 10 by 20 tray right here with some seed starting cells. And then I also have a 10 by 10 tray right here with some seed starting cells. I knew just because of the space that I wasn't going to be able to fit 2 10 by 20s in this direction. Now some seed starting racks, you'll see them turned this way and they stick out quite a bit more. So if I wanted to orient them this way, I could do like probably 3 going this way if I had chosen one that was deeper. To me, that wasn't so important. I was looking for something that I could keep tucked away in this portion of my house, but it may be something that you want to think about. Casters were also something that were important to me. I wanted to be able to move it out in case I was filming a video for you guys, or in case I wanted to move it to my garage or another space in my house down the line. I just tend to be happier with products like this if they're on wheels. The shelving unit that I ultimately chose has a 5,000 pound weight limit. It's on casters. It has 5 shelves and it's adjustable. To me, the flexibility is key because I'm not sure how I'm going to want to arrange it as the seedlings grow. Now let's talk about the next most important thing in the entire setup, which is the lights. The grow lights I chose are 24-inch long LED, 24 watt, 6400 Kelvin sun blaster lights. You could also choose fluorescent lights. LED does not give off so much heat, like this doesn't feel hot to my touch. And it also uses far less electricity than a fluorescent light. As an advantage though, the heat given off by a fluorescent light will aid in some germination for your plants, especially if they're in kind of a cold environment, like a cold basement. Now you're also going to see information about the spectrum of light, or the color of the light. For seedlings, what's most important is the blue light. Red is primarily what the plants need when they're in their fruiting and flowering stage. Full spectrum mimics daylight, so it includes the blue and the red spectrum, and it's also pretty easy to find full spectrum lights. The ones that I ended up purchasing are full spectrum. When it comes to the brightness or the intensity of the light, you're going to want to go with 2,000 to 5,000 lumens per shelf to give your seedlings enough light. These lights that I chose are 2550 lumens, which is on the lower end, but I was okay with it because I could someday choose to add a second grow light and have 2 per shelf. Now let's talk about light coverage. A good rule of thumb is 20 to 30 watts per square foot of growing space. Now this tray is 10 inches by 10 inches, which is less than a square foot, and this is 24 watts, so I'm good there. Now when I add the 10 by 20 tray with the 10 by 10 tray, now all of a sudden I have seedlings filling up about 2 square feet of space, and I only have 24 watts of light coverage. This is why a lot of the setups you'll see a second light on the same rack. For me, I just started with 4 lights. I figured that would be a good start. If I actually get to a point where I have all 4 shelves full of 10 by 20 trays plus 10 by 10 trays, I'll probably just buy some more lights at that point. Let me show you up close how these are mounted. This is called a hanging clip. It comes with 2 of them, but it also comes with a flush mount clip, which is very similar, except it has this hole instead of this eye that you can thread something through. So if you wanted to flush mount the light underneath a wooden shelf, you would just screw your screw up through the hole in the clip into the wood, and then this would just snap on to your light, just like this one. Now I wanted mine to be adjustable, and so I went with the hanging clips. And I'll talk through this adjustable hanging ratchet that I bought too. Now I want to point out something that I had to modify on this. This is the eye that comes with it on the hanging clip. And it came with this little, this little protective gasket or whatever you want to call it. And I had to pop that off just to fit the carabiner. When talking about grow lights on a seed starting setup like this, you'll often see people taking a budget-friendly approach and choosing shop lights. Shop lights are totally fine. There's another YouTuber that I watch. His name is Gary Pilarczyk from the Rusted Garden. He's been doing this forever, and he swears by shop lights, and they're about a third or at least half the price of a grow light. This grow light right here is LED, 6400 kelvins, and cost me about $79. I could have chosen an LED shop light with a minimum of 5000 kelvins and a daylight color spectrum, and that would have been just fine. I probably would have gone ahead and put 2 on the shelf, and that would have been just fine. In general, they say a grow light is just a little bit more optimized for plant health and energy efficiency, but I will also link in the description box below to some shop lights that would definitely work and would make this much more affordable. I'm curious myself if I could actually tell a difference in the plant health between a grow light and an LED shop light. So drop a comment below if you want me to pick up some comparable shop lights and do that comparison, and let you know if it's really worth it to splurge on the grow lights. Let me point out another feature that I wanted, which is also relatively available on the shop lights. There's a power cord on one side, and then there's also another connection where you can use these link cords. I'll put these link cords in the description box below, but this is a 24-inch link cord that I had to buy separately for the extra length. There's one that comes with it that's much shorter. I forget exactly how long it is, but it's only like 6 inches or something. So the link cord that comes with it would be more appropriate to be used when you had 2 on one shelf. But because I'm going from shelf to shelf, I wanted the 24-inch long link cord, and then I could go like this and daisy chain the lights together, and then you have all of them connected together in series, and then you can plug them all into the exact same programmable timer. Now this right here is the power cord, and it's 5.5 feet long, so it's a nice length, and this is the on-off switch. I normally keep mine in the on position, and then I have a programmable timer down below. Right here is the programmable timer that I chose. I have it programmed to turn on at 7 a.m., and off at 9 p.m. So right now my grow lights are running for 14 hours a day. And then it also has the capacity to have a program number 2 and number 3. I am not the person who's gonna remember to turn on my lights at a certain time and turn them off at a different time. And so a programmable timer was absolutely a necessity for me in this setup. Now let me show you the adjustable cord hangers. This is kind of the part that I like the least out of the setup. It's very functional, but the way that I had to set it up, I want to show you some of the drawbacks about it, and maybe we can brainstorm a way to fix that together. So if I had it mounted where it's simple and easy to keep track of which one adjusts which light. If I had the carabiner and the ratchet and then the crimp and then the carabiner onto the hanging clip on the grow light on the same shelf right here, and I bring it up as high as it goes, then look at how much space this adjustable hanger takes up. This is quite a few inches that I can no longer use in the vertical direction on my shelf. So to get around this, I had to kind of route the carabiner back here with the ratchet, and then it's through the wire parts of the shelf and then comes down through the center, so that really I only have one carabiner and the length of the crimp to worry about, and that lets me bring it up higher. Right, you can see it's going up even higher, but it's not ideal because I have to adjust it on the upper shelf. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of different ways that I could shorten this length. So, you know, I could just directly feed the rope through the eye, and then I have crimps and a crimp tool since my husband's a fisherman, so I could just route this through the eye and crimp it and get rid of a lot of length right here, and potentially do something similar up here to shorten this length, but then it would be at the expense of being easily removed. So in the description box below, I'm going to lay out all of the exact products that I've used here in case you're interested in picking up any of them. I'm also going to include some alternatives. For example, a shelving unit that's 4 feet wide, which is really a more standard width. And for grow light alternatives, I'll give you a 4-foot alternative, and I'll also give you a shop light alternative. If you're interested in these seed starting cells and trays, I'll put a link to those in the description box as well. These are the Vego Garden seed starting cells and trays that I love to use. This is the jumbo size with the 10 by 10 tray. I also have the standard size cells, which are a little bit smaller right here. It has 8 cells per, and then a 10 by 20 tray. I hope this video helps narrow down all the products out there so you can figure out a seed starting setup that's right for you. My name's Jen, and I want to thank you guys for watching again, and I'll see you next time.